Welcome, friends. In today's episode, I'll talk a little bit about practicing for those who have died, and then I'll lead a short practice using the mantra of Amitabha Buddha, which is Om AMI DEVA HRI. So if you enjoy this, please subscribe and share with a friend. And if you'd like to learn more about Buddhist basics, you can check out my free courses or my book, A Guide to the Four Noble Truths, in the show notes below. I just want to start by talking about the basic reason that you would even meditate for those who have died. So if you grew up thinking maybe like the body is all there is to us and then we die and like maybe something happens but maybe not, probably someone just dies and that's it, it might sound strange to practice for someone who is already dead. But in Buddhist belief, especially in Tibetan Buddhism, they believe that once someone has died, they're in a non-physical state. Often it takes a while for people to move on, and when they're in that non-physical state, which is called the bardo, the in-between state between death and rebirth, their minds are actually very sensitive to what anyone might be thinking about them. So if we think about, for instance, the people who recently died in the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, or if you hear about a mass shooting on the news, or someone getting killed by police or whatever it is, if you bring that person or those people to mind and you do a practice for them, in Buddhist belief, it really can actually be helpful. You're helping to kind of stabilize them, and if they died in a state of fear or a state of pain, you're sending them a lot of positivity to support having a more positive mind state so that their next lifetime can be better for them. This is also a practice that you can use if you personally lose someone in your life. It can be really helpful just to have something to do rather than feeling, that sense of loss and a sense of powerlessness. And finally, another benefit to doing this kind of practice is that we're all going to die. So the more you can actually reflect on and maybe even begin to feel a sense of peace or at least curiosity about death and what happens after that, it can be really beneficial, again, according to the Buddhist tradition, for your own mind at your time of death, at our time of death, because we're all going to die. So having said that, let's switch over into more of a meditation mode, and I'll keep the guided part kind of short, but feel free, if you get into a good state of mind, you feel like the meditation is going well, feel free to just pause it and keep going on your own. So the mantra that we're going to use today is the mantra of Amitabha Buddha, and Amitabha is associated with infinite light. Infinite light. And Amitabha is also associated with the Western Pure Land that a lot of Buddhists, especially in East Asia, want to go to when they die. This is said to be a place where, the conditions are really good for basically waking up altogether, becoming a Buddha ourselves so that we're able to then benefit all living beings. So that's in a nutshell who Amitabha is. Again, you can see the link in the show notes below to get a little bit more information about Amitabha if you're curious. You can also find the mantra written out in the show notes. It's Om AMI DEVA HRI. Om AMI DEVA HRI. It doesn't have like a translation. It's not like a sentence or something. It's just a mantra. It evokes the energy of Amitabha. So as we settle into a meditative state, meditative posture, you might want to allow your eyes to gently close, or if you'd like to keep them open, you can just have them gazing down at about a 45-degree angle. Try and have your back as straight as possible, sitting in a way that's comfortable. So if you're sitting in a chair like I am, you can prop your back against the back of the chair. Keep your back kind of off the back of the chair and just prop up the back of your hips. Maybe invite your shoulders to relax. You might even feel those shoulders just gently settling in, dropping down away from the ears. You can invite the face to relax. The muscles around the eyes, the muscles in the jaws, all of that can just start to feel heavy, soft, and relaxed. You can feel into your mid-back and your lower back and just feel them relaxing also. Feel all your weight resting in the seat area, supported by your chair or your cushion. You could even do this lying down if that's going to be more comfortable. So the whole body is just settling in, getting soft and relaxed. And we'll take a couple of minutes now just to arrive, to get present, and also to use the out breath to release any strong emotions you might be feeling. If you're going to do some practice for someone who's passed away, someone who's not in a physical body, it's really helpful if your mind can be as calm and centered as possible, as free of negative emotions. So just imagine with that out breath, you're releasing any fear, anxiety, hatred, agitation, any of that stuff. You're releasing it not just for your own sake, but really even more so for the sake of the person or people you're going to practice for. So we'll just use that out breath, release any of those agitating emotions. Really settle into this space. Like you can make that out breath longer than the in breath. Just give yourself a little bit of extra time. Keep it comfortable so you're not trying to hold your breath or make it super long. Just a little extra space to that out breath. You might even feel with every out breath that your body can release, your mind can relax, your energy system can relax and open, and the energy can flow smoothly through your body. And now, before we really start practicing for others, we can just take a moment and call on the Buddha within ourselves. So if you're familiar with Amitabha Buddha, you can use that image. Again, if you're not, you can follow the link in the show notes to find an image of Amitabha Buddha, but you don't need to know what he looks like. Just know that he's a kind of gentle, reddish color, that he's suffused with infinite light. And as with every Buddha, Amitabha Buddha is both an energy that is out there, and it's also an energy that is within us. So let's just take a moment and ask the enlightened, the awakened, the fully wise and compassionate aspect of ourselves to take on the form of Amitabha Buddha within us, so that we can be not just an ordinary person saying some mantras, but we can actually be kind of a vessel for Amitabha Buddha's blessings to flow into the world. So whatever part of you resonates with that, just let it resonate, let it support and guide this practice. You start by holding the space of infinite light, of embracing everybody, those who have recently died, but really all living beings with your Buddha mind. So you're doing this not just to benefit yourself or to benefit one or two people, but really all living beings. May they all benefit from this practice. So now I'll start reciting the mantra. If you know how to sing it, that's fine. You can sing it. You can say it out loud along with this recording. You can also just say it silently, internally. If you have a mala, you can count the beads. So if you want to do maybe 200 or 300 Amitabha repetitions, you can count them on a mala, but you don't have to. All of that is optional. You can do it if it supports you. So I'll say the mantra. You can say it or think it with me. And with every syllable of the mantra, it's like you're activating the Amitabha energy that's just naturally present within the universe. Science tells us that everything, every particle of matter is basically made of light. So when we talk about infinite light, we're just talking about the light of the universe expressing itself naturally. We're dropping the sense that we're these little ordinary limited beings. We're feeling into the infinite light that makes up the universe. And we're also sending these good energies, these good intentions specifically to whoever we want to practice for as well. You can imagine them in front of you. You can just have a sense that they're somehow being invited to be present and to receive this support. And if those people are not Buddhist, you don't have to imagine them encountering Amitabha Buddha. You can just imagine benefit going to them. Whether they believe in a god or nothing or something completely different, you can just have this sense, whatever's going to be helpful to them, that's what they receive. So you can do your practice, let them receive whatever is beneficial from that. So now we'll begin reciting the mantra together, with every syllable energizing that infinite light. Om Ami Deva Hri. 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 With every mantra that you recite, something within you is resonating with that Amitabha energy in the entire universe. So you're not doing anything, you're just helping to evoke this natural infinite light of the universe. Om Ami Deva Hri. 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 So I'll stop saying this mantra aloud. This would be a great time to pause the video if you want to just settle in, maybe spend 15 or 20 additional minutes saying this mantra, however long you have. And then when you're ready to pick up again and close the meditation, you can just press play again. So now, as we shift out of the mode of actively saying the mantra, You can just settle back into your own body, into your own sense of the presence of infinite light. Really have a sense of whoever you're doing this practice for, which is of course all living beings, but if you have specific people in mind, you can imagine them kind of in front of you. And when I say imagine, I don't necessarily mean visualize or see. I just mean feel a sense of their presence. You're inviting them to be with you. You're inviting them to receive blessings and benefit. You can just imagine those persons surrounded by light, suffused by light. If they died afraid, you can imagine them relaxing and releasing that fear. If they died with any kind of negative state of mind, you can just imagine that being kind of unnecessary. They're ready to relax, release open, to receive blessings and benefits in whatever way is appropriate for them. So let's just sit with for a moment, just feeling that sense of they're suffused with blessings, we're suffused with blessings, the entire universe is suffused with blessings. Finally, we can thank whoever we've invited into this space to practice for. We can thank them for being part of our meditation. And we can release them. Just return to our own sense of body suffused with light and blessings. We can allow the attention to settle into the heart center now, feeling our connection with Amitabha, feeling that indeed we are actually made of infinite light. Maybe the sense that we're made of a physical body is actually inaccurate. Just rest for a moment, taking in our infinite light nature. Then you can let that too dissolve away, or whatever happens naturally. We're just going to make no effort at all, and we'll simply rest for a minute or two and allow our bodies, our minds to take in whatever experience we've just had. Finally, you can come back up out of this meditative state. Maybe just take one last moment to make the aspiration, may all beings benefit from this practice that we've just done today. May all beings benefit. And may I remember my true nature as infinite light. So thank you for meditating with me today. I hope this practice is helpful. Anytime you see on the news that someone has died, if you lose a being who's meaningful to you, a person, an animal, and maybe it can even help you relax a little around the idea of death and facing our own inevitable death and what comes next, because it could be infinite light.